2012 meeting of the Oklahoma City Airport Trust. The first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the April 26, 2012 meeting. What is the trustees' wishes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Cast your votes. And it is approved. Next, we have the director's report.
We have the director's report. I have a couple of things I want to talk about today. One is I want to mention the project we had to rehabilitate our two-story and our original five-story parking garage, and also do some electrical improvements as well as some lighting improvements. As a result of that project, starting last Friday, we moved our short-term parking from the top level of the two-story to the first level of our new garage C parking. This parking area has a dedicated in and out for short-term parkers. It's a little bit longer, but they still have an elevator to the tunnel that provides them access to the terminal. And actually, in this area, there's actually more parking for short-term, and it is covered. But that will be about a 6-month process. Our garages are, the two-story garage is 44 years old and is in need of this structural rehab, as well as Garage B, the original five-story parking garage, which is 31 years old. That's all my report for today.
Thank you, Mark. I got ahead of myself here, as you all have noticed. The audience did not probably notice that, but let's go back and the item number 3, approve the Oklahoma City Airport Trust proposed budget for fiscal year 2013, and I think you have a presentation, sir?
Yes, sir. Before I ask to approve the budget, I would like to go through the presentation with you this morning, as we do each year. So I am pleased to present the Oklahoma City Airport Trust fiscal year 2013 budget. As you see, the proposed budget for next year is comprised of an operating budget of $55,802,000 and $40,403,000 for a total of $96,205,000. The major difference each year usually is the amount of funds that we have budgeted for capital projects. Going to the sources of funds for our airport charges, we have building rents of almost $15 million, the largest component of which is comprised of lease payments for rents for the terminal and cargo building, the Federal Transfer Center, and other buildings and hangars. We have landing fees, which are charged to commercial passenger carriers and cargo freight carriers that are based on cost recovery. The landing fees actually went down a little bit for next year. It's based on 1,000 pounds of landed weight. Parking revenues, a little over $9.5 million, is related to our public parking operation for our garage and surface lots. Concessions, a little over $6 million related to our food and beverage, retail, and rental car concessions. Fuel sales, a little over $1.5 million. We charge a fuel flowage fee of 8 cents per gallon for all fuel that's either retail or that's self-fueled by tenants that have those privileges on all 3 of our airports. And other airport charges of a little over $17 million, consisting mainly of maintenance reimbursements and ground rentals and apron fees for total airport charges of $56,248,000. We have other revenue sources as well. Oil and gas revenue is a little over $2.6 million, interest at $604,000. Passenger facility charges, a little over $7.2 million. This is very important revenue for us because it supplements the funding for the capital program. Customer facility charges are $3,825,000. This is based on the recently approved $4.50 customer facility charge for our rental car program at the airport. Federal and state participation, these are basically grants and reimbursable agreements from other agencies, almost $12 million, and primarily with our check baggage inspection system and our closed-circuit television system. And this year we'll have several FAA grants for airfield improvements for Will Rogers World Airport and Clarence E. Page Airport. Our carryover principally exists for the Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center escrow account and prior year revenues to support our capital program of a little over $10 million, and revenue bonds proceeds related to our PFC and CFC charges of $3.3 million. So the total sources of funds with bond proceeds and the carryover and the revenues total of $82,515,000 comprise the trust budget of $96,205,000. On the expenditure side, we have other services and fees, a little over $10 million. This includes major contracts for our parking management contract, janitorial contract for the terminal and other buildings, our aircraft rescue and firefighting contract, and the supplemental security contract. Commodities, $997,000 is related to various materials and supply accounts. Our debt requirements are $21,216,000, and the transfer to the airport's cash fund of $16,710,000, which is a separate legal fund for airport operations and salaries and benefits and miscellaneous services and supplies, and I'll talk a little bit more in detail about that account later. Reserves are estimated that will occur in 2013 that are used for capital projects, $6,729,000, and then our capital outlay budgeted of $40,403,000 balances the budget at $96,205,000. For completed projects at Will Rogers, we always like to show what we've been doing the past year. So we completed a terminal phase 3 planning study for $779,000, which will improve terminal functions. We also completed a closed-circuit television project. It ended up being a phase 1 project. We got good bids on this project and have money left over from the TSA reimbursable agreement. For this project, we went from 70 CCTV cameras to over 350 cameras, so we have very good coverage in the terminal as a result of that project. We did an environmental assessment at Will Rogers for $395,000. This is principally for the planning for the east side development and other projects completed for Will Rogers World Airport. You see there's quite a diverse number there, so the total cost of completed projects, $5,788,000. On the general aviation side, we completed the ILS for runway 35 right at Wiley Post Airport. A very important project for Wiley Post. It provides an opposite direction. Unusual for an opposite direction ILS. We have one on the other side for South Flow. It's very unusual for general aviation airports to have 2 instrument landing precision approaches, and this provides an all-weather approach for pilots wanting to land to the north during inclement weather. We also completed a new fuel facility at Clarence C. Page Airport for a little over $1 million. And we did a stormwater drainage assessment at Wiley Post, so the total cost of general aviation completed projects were $4,095,000. We always carve out Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center because it's a major line of our business, and just for information, the Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center is the largest Department of Transportation employer outside of Washington, D.C. It's the airport's largest tenant, has approximately 7,200 employees, contractors, and students. The trust manages the entire electrical system for the campus, which includes a medium voltage 13,000 volt distribution system, and the trust also maintains a medium pressure gas distribution system. So the Airport Trust is actually registered with the Oklahoma Corporation Commission as a utility and has the same requirements for testing and maintenance as Oklahoma Natural Gas. One of the completed projects we did this year was the Air Navigation Facility 1 roof replacement and envelope repairs project for $1,209,000. Another project we're winding up is to reconstruct and resurface various roadways and parking lots and service roads for $2,249,000. And we did skylight replacement for the Registry and Thomas P. Stafford buildings for $957,000. Several other projects were completed at Mike Monroney for the total cost of the projects of $5,993,000. I want to switch back to ongoing or new projects for the same categories of airports in Mike Monroney. Currently, we have Taxiway H realignment and reconstruction. This is an $8 million project to change the taxiway from asphalt to concrete, also realign it to conform it to FAA standards. This also is getting ready for development on the east side to handle heavier aircraft, and you see Atlantic Aviation in the background, one of our new FBOs that already has a significant amount of jet corporate traffic in the background. Again, an $8 million project, but next year we'll be spending $4.25 million on it. Another major project at the airport, looking forward to continuing with design on, is the consolidated rental car facility. This is an approximate $39 million project. Next year we're planning to spend $3,300,000, and what you see here is the operating concept that's been agreed to by staff at the rental car companies on how it will work. This is location is on South Meridian between Southwest 54th Street and Airport Road, across from the Southwest Airlines Reservation Center. In the director's report that I provided earlier, I mentioned the relocation of short-term parking, and this is where you see it has been in the past. And this is the rehabilitation work that's going on now on the top level of the two-story parking garage. This is a $3.8 million project. It's already been underway for some time. It should be completed next year, hopefully in the spring, and it's $1.5 million budgeted for this next year. We're also doing some more planning on the land development strategy. This is our final planning. I know we've done a lot of planning over there, but this is specific to the retail portion that we want to define some concepts for town center retail between Southwest 74th and Southwest 89th Street. And total is $300,000 on that effort. We're still moving forward with our checked baggage inspection system, budgeting $1.583 million. The total cost on this project will be estimated at $27 million. We've been working with TSA headquarters in Washington, D.C. the last few months, trying to get 30% design approved by TSA. That has been done, and now we're pressing towards 70% design. The realignment of Portland Avenue, I know you all are aware of, and this is $1.425 million, and this represents the engineering the Airport Trust is funding for the realignment of Portland Avenue. We also have other ongoing and new projects for Will Rogers World Airport, an FAA project to pave and construct a perimeter road around our east north-south parallel runway. Another Phase 2 CCTV project, reimbursable agreement from the Transportation Security Administration. Another FAA grant to rehabilitate some concrete joints. We want to also improve our terminal seating. Our seating in the terminal is 10 years old. We'd like to replace cushions and fabric for that seating, and we need to purchase a new fire truck. Also, this will be an FAA project. And finally, some other projects for Will Rogers. We want to do some redundant fiber to the central maintenance facility. That's in coordination with the city's information technology department. Do some terminal planning and purchasing parking shuttle buses for our parking operation. And then we have additional projects. I won't go through all of these, but the total of all projects, $22,531. At Clarence E. Page Airport, we're fortunate to get an FAA grant this year. We don't get them every year for Clarence E. Page, but this one we're planning some airfield improvements for $1,640,000. We're going to be replacing the water tank and the booster pump station at Wiley Post that handles fire suppression for selected hangars out at Wiley Post. Our budget this year would be $200,000. This is actually a cost-sharing effort with the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust, who will be managing the project. Excuse me. Additional projects for Wiley Post, you see we're doing a couple of roofs on hangars, and we will also be doing a study on the maintenance facility at Wiley Post. It's getting to be quite old, and we want to make some improvements there, or at least study the possibility of that. So the total general aviation projects, $2,490,000. At Mike Monroney, a lot of work being done on various buildings for heat and air systems and major mechanical systems, $11,600,000. Air Navigation Facility 2 roof replacement and envelope repair for $1.3 million. Excuse me. Also, various locations at Mike Maroney will be replacing some aging pad mount switches and transformers. And then a few other projects next year, expect to do $15,382,000. So the summary of all the projects that we have ongoing, you see, meets our capital budget, proposed $40,403,000. We always like to break down for you the amount that we're getting in either grants or reimbursable agreements from federal agencies, almost $12 million. And then we see the revenue and bond proceeds to support the capital program. We have tenant maintenance funds, which handle facility capital improvements for our trust-owned facilities. And then you see trust operations of $9,308,000 to support the capital program. On the airport's cash fund, I mentioned that before. This is a separate legal transfer fund. We have this categorized by our leading for results lines of business. And again, this year, $16,710. Major budget increases for this next year. We always have annual increases for insurance and benefit for our existing positions. And we have an increase in city-provided services. These are basically chargebacks we incur each year from other departments. And we have new positions, which I want to talk about, for $463,000 for a total of $998,000. On the new positions that we're asking this year, we've got several, and I want to cover them briefly with you. One is the Airport Emergency Coordinator. Over the past few years, the department has experienced some unprecedented events that have demonstrated the need for an emergency coordinator. The airport is a multi-agency response environment. When an incident happens at the airport, and they happen fairly often, typically it's not just the airport that responds, but in addition to police and fire, you have either TSA or FAA, you can have NTSB or Customs and Border Protection. The airport doesn't have any staff on with that mindset or skill set. We have plans for emergencies, and a lot of them, mainly related to airfield events. We want to do improved planning for other types of emergencies that can be very diverse, and we have a need for some professional expertise trained in this area. In addition, the FAA is going to be requiring commercial service airports, Part 139, which Will Rogers is, to develop and implement safety management systems, and these will be plans that have to be approved by the Federal Aviation Administration. This person will be over that effort, and the emergency coordinator will just coordinate and implement policies, programs, and procedures for safety practices and serve as the primary contact with the city's risk management department. The accounting manager position, there are 5 people in the airport's accounting and finance section responsible for the operation, and it's a significant operation. We have 2 part-time people. The accounting manager will just manage the day-to-day activities of the work section made up of municipal accountants. Currently, the business manager is performing much of those tasks, and it's taken away from the role of the business manager to perform higher-level oversight for the airport's financial model, financial forecasting, doing revenue analysis for major projects like our baggage system, consolidated facility, east side land development, and future terminal improvements. We've got signatory agreements coming up with airlines where we have several items that need to be evaluated before we go into renegotiation. We have increased demand for auditing and self-reporting of ourselves, and we also want to do more reporting, auditing for the concessions that report to us, revenues, and we want to try to do more financial reporting for the Airport Trust. The System Support Specialist 2 position is needed as the airport only has 2 IT personnel assigned. There are several dozen proprietary airport systems at the airport. They have to maintain these systems. They're on call 24/7. They also have to manage the systems that interface with the city information technology departments, and the continuous development and acquisition of technology that's going on now. The job responsibilities have just surpassed the ability for these 2 people to perform all these duties. We'd like to have a plumber. We've got lots of facilities and lots of toilets and sinks and urinals, all with sensors, and right now we contract out this service, and we prefer to have it in-house so we can provide more timely response to better serve the public and our tenants, and also do that at a reduced cost. The irrigation technician is one that we've been wanting for a couple of years. We have significant irrigation from the terminal building all the way out to Airport Road, 130 acres of irrigated turf and landscape beds, 4,000 sprinkler heads, 20 miles of installed irrigation pipe. All of this has to be maintained, and currently Horticulture 2 is maintaining this system along with managing their own crews, and the responsibility is just getting too great. The system needs to be maintained, and it's a significant system. The operations administrator coordinator, missed myself in order, I apologize there. This is to assist in our airport badging operation. The Transportation Security Administration over the years has tripled the effort that's necessary to do criminal history record checks and threat assessments for anybody that's needing to get into the secure areas of the terminal. It's a high maintenance job because you're trying to schedule appointments. You also have reporting to TSA on all the badges that everybody has, even those that are no longer active. And currently we have an airport operations officer, which main job is to manage the airfield now on a day floater to try to augment that effort. And last, the civil engineer. We already have approval to hire a civil engineer for a position. We're doing interviews, board interviews this month, but this basically officially takes it into the next budget year. We need extra engineering help at the airport right now. We have a lower level engineer too that's managing all of the engineering effort at the airport. An airport facility planner recently retired. We're changing that position. It's the same classification, so there's no dollar change to an engineer 3. And the engineer 4 was actually a recommendation that was in the classification and comp study that was done a few years ago and is a recommendation by personnel. Those are the major budget changes for this year, and we request your support and approval for them. Thank you.
Thank you,
Happy to
Mark.
answer any questions.
Any questions for the Director?
I'll move approval. I do have a comment I'd like to make before we vote.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd just like to, all of us are proud of our city. We're proud of our airports. Particularly Will Rogers, it truly is the front door for our city. And before we did the remodel 10 years ago, it was not a very nice front door. But it is now. And I've just gotten unsolicited comments from several times from people from outside the city who comment about how nice our airport is when they land there. And it makes a really favorable impression. So I want to thank you and your staff, Mark, and those here at City Hall that work with you to achieve this. I want to compliment you on the financial strength of the trust, your ability to provide the facilities you need. I'll comment that the one area that I think we do need to address as you're looking at adding more gates, the check-in area, this security area, security checkpoints.
Yes, sir.
Clearly, 10 years ago, were not designed for what we're doing now, and that does seem to be an area of some stress, and so I'd really encourage you to be out ahead of that instead of behind it as you move forward. But great job. Thank you.
The terminal plan that we did a few months back and that the trust received did have some terminal function improvements, and one of those was a central security checkpoint. We want to look at that today. The airport continues to grow. It's had 12 months of record enplanements. There's been lots of changes in the way TSA secures or checks people going through either with checked baggage or through the security checkpoints. All those changes are dynamic changes that can affect throughput. So yes, we will continue to look at that and work with TSA to be as efficient as we possibly can.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
The mayor used the term stress on the checking in of passengers going through the security. We just implemented some new hardware out there several months ago. How is all that going? Has the stress level been dealt with? What can we expect on a normal type of transportation? And then I think this weekend we're expecting as many as 60,000 people to plane and deplane. What can the passengers expect this weekend?
One of the dynamics that changed a little before spring break, the Transportation Security Administration installed the automated imaging machines, which are the machines that are much better from screening threats than the metal walkthroughs that we've had for many years. And we have 3, 2 on the east checkpoint and 1 on the west checkpoint. TSA has had some time to ramp up their proficiency in being able to adjust using those machines. We also have worked with TSA to improve where they're using the machines in conjunction with the metal walkthroughs. I think before they were trying just to use the automated imaging technology machines exclusively because they are better at managing threats. However, we have a risk-based assessment system, a tiered layer of security is what TSA advocates. We advocate, and they are using all available resources at this time. And one of the things that gives everybody some extra comfort is we do have the TSA vapor wake bomb-sniffing dogs out at the airport. There are 4 dog teams, and they use those on a regular basis during peak times. And that has helped the throughput. We're not getting the missed passengers that we were before, and wait times have improved at the airport. It is something that we continually will have to watch.
Thank you, Mark. We have a motion to approve. Did we have a second? We had a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And it is approved. Will Rogers World Airport, sir.
Thank you. Trustees, I appreciate that. Under Will Rogers, item A is to approve the plans and project manual submitted by Frankfurt Short Bruce Associates for the Air Navigation Facility 2 roof replacement and building envelope repairs project at Mike Maroney Aeronautical Center, authorizing the bids to be open on June 17th. Item B is approved change order number 4 for the reconstruction of various roadways and parking facilities, adding 79 working days. Item C is approved change order 1 for the Air Navigation Facility 1 roof replacement and building envelope repairs project for Mike Maroney, adding $3,016.20. Item D is to approve change order number 1 for the taxiway H reconstruction and realignment project, adding 46 days. Items F through G are also approving certificates of substantial completion for buildings at Mike Maroney Aeronautical Center, Building 30 roof replacement, the 2010 electrical upgrades project, and the Thomas P. Stafford waterproofing repairs project. Item H is to approve Addendum 1 in the request for bids for plastic sleeves for our electronic toilet seats, receiving the bids opened on April 24th, awarding the contract to Heigelet Incorporated for $48,000 annually. And last, item I is to approve the preliminary design report and plans for the street improvements, and this is the plans for the realignment of Portland Avenue. Under General Aviation, item A is to approve the plans and project manual by Garver Engineers. I guess we should approve. Will Rogers, sorry.
You're on a roll. I was trying to sit up here figure. I was.
Go all the way to the end, we should do it all in one vote.
Should I pick this up and whack him one or not?
Just move the whole batch, Gary.
I'll approve everything. Anybody got anything else out there? I'll move item 5.
Item 5 is the items for Will Rogers World Airport. We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Cast your votes, and it's so approved. Now, sir, you're on for General Aviation.
Okay, I don't like change. I do really, but item under Wiley Post and Clarence E. Page Airport is to approve the plans and project manual by Garver Engineers for the FA project this year to do airfield lighting improvements and pavement rehabilitation improvements, and advertising bids to be open on June 19th for Clarence E. Page Airport. Item B is to approve the project for the instrument landing system and approach lighting for runway 35 right, releasing the retainage for final payment with Thales ATM for Wiley Post. Item C is to adopt a resolution declaring a structure surplus to the needs of the trust, releasing the lien and authorizing for disposal, approving Midwest Wrecking contract of $13,310 to do the disposal for Wiley Post Airport. That's all items under General Aviation.
Okay, well, you've heard Wiley Post and Clarence E. Page items. What's the trust desires? We have a motion to move. We have a second. Any discussion? Cast your votes. And it is so approved. General.
Request approval.
We have a motion to second. Any questions or discussion? Cast your votes. And General is approved. Lease agreements.
Item A is to approve the payment schedule for Metro Technology School District Number 22 for their lease period through June 30, 2013, for their Aviation Career Center at Will Rogers World Airport. Item B is to approve a non-federal reimbursable agreement with the Federal Aviation Administration Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center for $7,712,012.33. This will be from the Senior Lien Maintenance and Insurance account to be included into a non-interest-bearing account to be used in conjunction with the FAA's total remodel of the systems training building at Will Rogers World Airport. Item C is approved supplement agreement number 36. This is also in conjunction with the Mike Monroney lease with the trust, incorporating the registry building into the Senior Lien Maintenance and Insurance account, clarifying other terms and conditions of the lease. Item D is approved supplement 2 to the agreement with MidFirst Bank for the operation of automated teller machines in the terminal at Will Rogers World Airport. Item E is to approve the early lease termination agreement with Cox TMI Wireless LLC at Will Rogers World Airport. And item F is to approve 3 ground services agreements. And that's all items under leases.
Thank you, Mark. You've heard the items under lease agreements. What are the trust's desires?
Move approval.
We have a motion to approve. And a second. Cast your votes. And they are so approved. Item number 9.
Would like the requisitions approved, please.
Cast your votes. And it is so approved. We are now down to the point, are there any comments from any of the trustees? Seeing none. Comments from staff? Any citizens desiring to be heard? Seeing none, we are adjourned.